World War I was one of the deadliest wars in history, with military and civilian casualties estimated to be over 37 million. The causes of the war are complex and are still the topic of much debate, but for the most part, they could be divided into two categories: the immediate causes and the underlying causes. Let's begin with the underlying causes. They can be summarized by the acronym MAIN, or militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. When combined together, they give us a better understanding of why the immediate cause, which we'll get to later, sparked the war. The M stands for militarism, which is the arms race among the major powers to build the most powerful military force. The more one nation built up its army, the more the other European nations felt the need to do the same. Next is the letter A, which stands for alliances. Many of the European countries signed mutual defense alliances in hopes of securing peace. But what this really did was ensure that a single conflict between two countries would quickly involve many countries. The two major alliances by 1914 were the Triple Alliance between Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, and the Triple Entente between Britain, France, and Russia. The I in MAIN stands for imperialism, which is when a country amasses large colonies for greater access to materials and resources. What imperialism did was spur conflict among the competing nations as they fought constantly for territorial disputes. Finally, nationalism, or the pride in one's country, was the driving force behind the competition in imperialism and the strongest army. The immediate cause of World War I occurred on June 28, 1914, when Archduke Francis Ferdinand was assassinated by a Serbian nationalist.
The assassination at Sarajevo was certainly the crucial precedent of the European war that its conspirators had sought, but was not the historical cause. The assassination acted as a lever, prying the various powers into predictable paths.
This was the spark that was needed to begin the war, as Germany pledged its support to Austria-Hungary and Russia mobilized its forces to support Serbia. Soon afterwards, Germany declared war on Russia and then on France. And when Germany invaded Belgium, Britain finally declared war on Germany. World War I had begun and its consequences were disastrous. Cities throughout Europe were destroyed and millions were left dead, injured, or homeless.
Monuments and cities were smashed by artillery. Poison gas stifled or seared the soldiers. Liquid fire was projected upon their bodies. Men fell from the air in flames or were smothered in the dark recesses of the sea.
People were not only affected physically, but psychologically. With the horrors and destruction of the war, many felt disillusioned and lost faith in their governments to meet the needs of the people. No longer was war glorified as it has been in the past, and no longer did the optimistic dreams of a better future with the end of the war carry on. The war also impacted the economies of the various European nations, and they were no longer the lenders as they were at the beginning of 1914, but the borrowers instead. As a result, many nations went into inflation as they were forced into excessively printing money to pay off the loans and war reparations. This was especially true of Germany. The German mark jumped from 4.6 million marks to $1 to 4.2 trillion marks in a period of only 3 months in 1923. Politically, Germany also faced the most punishment. The Treaty of Versailles strongly reprimanded the nation, forcing Germany to admit complete responsibility for the war, forbidding the mobilization of an army, and greatly constricting its original territory. The lasting effect of the Treaty of Versailles, which we will get to shortly, was predicted by Ferdinand Foch, a French marshal.
This is not peace. This is an armistice for 20 years.
Perhaps most importantly, World War I left many of the nations dissatisfied, and the resentment caused by the failure of the Treaty of Versailles contributed to the rise of World War II.
It's a long, long